Hello everyone, my name is Tyler Vetsch and I am a System Administrator with the West Valley IT Department. I hope you're ready to spend some quality time together as we discuss our IT Department cybersecurity training. Because in today's digital world, understanding cybersecurity is crucial. Our goal is to equip you with the tools and the knowledge to stay safe online. Here's what we'll cover in our training. Account security. We'll tackle password fatigue, discuss complex passwords, and we'll discuss using a password manager to store all of your passwords, your OTP codes, and more. MFA. We'll introduce you to MFA, or Multifactor authentication, and introduce you to SilverFort, our district's MFA Solution. Social engineering. We'll teach you how to spot new phishing email attempts and understand why new AI threats make this even more challenging. Data sharing safety 101. We'll show you how to send encrypted emails and securely share documents in Google Drive or Office 365. Let's get started. Our first topic of discussion, account security. And we'll start with password fatigue. Passwords are a critical aspect of technology. In 2024, the average person had over 170 different online accounts that required credentials, a testament to our increased online presence. This amount of accounts can lead to password fatigue, which causes people to reuse the same passwords across multiple sites. Reusing passwords significantly increases your risk. If one of your accounts becomes compromised, every single account sharing that same password is vulnerable. The best way to prevent this is to use a unique password for every single account. Seems really impossible, right? Well, enter a password manager. To manage unique, complex passwords, take advantage of a password manager. Google and Apple devices, for example, have a free built-in password manager that will autosave and autofill your passwords for you, simplifying this process. They can also store those OTP or one-time password codes that you often need as a second factor to authenticate. There are other managers out there that do have a cost or a fee associated with them. These password managers will also alert you if they found a password out there on the internet that is known to be compromised to further protect you from any cybercrimes. This lets you easily know which passwords you need to change. Another significant risk is password complexity. As technology advances, so does the ease with which attackers can crack passwords. Simple brute force attacks can crack 70% of weak passwords in less than 1 second. This is an attack where hackers try every combination possible for a password as quickly and as rapidly in succession as that they can. These same weak passwords account for over 80% of organizational data breaches. This graph here over to my right shows how quickly the average password is able to be cracked. The rate at which a password can be cracked gets faster annually as new hardware and new technologies are used. For example, today, an 8-character password with a number, a special character, and a capital letter can only be cracked in 3 hours. Back in 2018, this same password complexity took hackers over 400 years to crack. This is how much technology has advanced, and this is also why we suggest setting up two-factor authentication whenever and wherever you can. More on this a bit later in our training. Feel free to pause this video to further read through the chart if you need. The best way to protect both yourself and the district is to use unique passwords for any of your accounts and enable MFA. At the West Valley School District, we require complex passwords to limit our exposure to these types of risks. We require using passwords with at least 13 characters, including a number, a symbol, and a capital letter. Passwords cannot be reused and they cannot contain information such as your first name, your last name, or your username. Remember back to that infographic about the time to crack a password in the last slide? With this updated complexity, it would take someone over 3 million years to crack a current password with today's tools. Best practice would be to start to use this minimum password requirements on all of your personal accounts as well, further protecting you from any cybercrime from a compromised password or account. Multifactor authentication, or MFA, is a security measure that requires someone to provide two or more distinct verification factors to access a system or a resource. MFA significantly increases account security when used along strong, unique passwords. MFA provides a second verification step to confirm your identity during login. Common factors of MFA include an OTP code that gets emailed to you, a text message code that you get sent, a third-party application where you respond yes or no to a prompt when logging in, like our district solution SilverFort, or biometrics. These often being a fingerprint or a facial recognition, like Face ID on iOS devices. Whenever possible, enable MFA on any of your personal accounts. MFA reduces the risk of compromise by 99.2% across the entire population, and by over 98.5% in cases of leaked credentials. And speaking of SilverFort, our district utilizes SilverFort, an MFA solution available as an application for iOS, Android, and Chrome extensions. A desktop application is also available for easier sign-in on any district workstation. If you're a new employee, look out for more information sent to your email from HR. You'll receive a document that will include a, quote, Meet the IT Team document with photos of us, enrollment information into SilverFort, and then how to contact our IT department for help. Please remember that staff have access to critical data within the school district. To protect this data, never share your password with anyone, including other district employees. IT and other district members will never ask for your password, and you should never provide this information to anyone. You are responsible for protecting your account. Think of it like this. If you wouldn't leave your personal wallet or phone unlocked and out in the open for anyone to come by and access, don't leave your workstation unlocked. Always lock your computer when you step away, even if only for just a few minutes when stepping out of the room. Next, we'll talk about social engineering and its inherent risks. This is all about human manipulation and how attackers try to trick you into revealing sensitive information. We'll show you how to spot a phishing email and discuss why traditional identification methods are becoming less effective with the rise of AI. Social engineering is a deceptive tactic where individuals are manipulated into revealing sensitive information or performing actions that compromise security. This often involves scam methods such as phishing and smishing. Phishing and smishing are becoming increasingly sophisticated and prevalent in the workplaces, including our school districts. These cybercrime techniques use deceptive communications to trick individuals into divulging sensitive data like usernames, passwords, credit card numbers, or bank account details. There's also a third type of scam being used called vishing or voice phishing. We'll touch more on this on the next slide. Now, over time, phishing has evolved. Originally, it involved email-based scams, but now it includes smishing or phishing via a text message or vishing. These scams can range from urgent requests for your personal information that seems to be from a supervisor, to getting a fake notification about how you have an unpaid toll, or even a phone call claiming that you've made a purchase. This new vishing or voice phishing, they claim to be a company like Amazon, and they say you made a purchase and it's no longer covered by the A to Z guarantee policy, and you won't be getting a refund. Now, any of these methods can be used to socially engineer or trick you into divulging sensitive information or to perform an action that would compromise the district's security. A few examples that have actually happened in our district are where a principal or director asks you to purchase gift cards. I use quotes here because these were successful phishing attempts where people actually bought these gift cards and sent these gift card numbers back via email to the scammer, thinking they were replying to their director or principal. Another social engineering example is where someone is vished. This is where a scammer calls and acts as your bank, for example. These bad actors can even spoof your caller ID and show up as Chase Bank or Best Buy or any other business. These scammers will often play off of your emotions, try to relate to you, and they'll do whatever they need to in order to get what they want, which is your money. Once they get to the point to where they've gained your trust, They can ask for you to send money to an address. They'll have you send the money to a fake name business and a fake address. We actually recently learned that they'll even rent out an Airbnb home and use this recently acquired address that they have access and get these packages delivered to that address. They can have also what's called a money mule who actually sits there and waits for that package to be delivered, and they'll intercept this package. They'll then bring it to the scammer they've been hired from, and your money is gone. The growing use of artificial intelligence, or AI, has made it even harder to identify these attempts. AI can overcome language barriers and enable the creation of highly convincing phishing emails that mimic legitimate addresses or branding. AI even reduces or eliminates spelling mistakes, formatting errors, and makes the tone of the email sound very official. Before, spelling, grammar, improper branding, etc., these were all easy key things to look for to verify if this is a phishing email that you have in your inbox. Now, AI has changed how we view cybersecurity, and it's increased the types of these threats. Here are some key factors to look for when determining whether or not an email is fishy. First, be cautious with any links or attachments. Phishing attempts frequently deliver malware through embedded links or an attached file. Always ask yourself before opening anything, was I expecting an email with these links or these types of attachments? If not, proceed with extreme caution. Next, beware of a sense of urgency. Scammers will often try to rush you into taking immediate action. Take a moment to pause and think before responding to any urgent requests, especially if they demand sensitive information or for you to take immediate action. Next, check the from address. While this is not foolproof, checking the sender's email address can help filter out many types of phishing attempts. However, sophisticated attackers can spoof an email address, so don't rely solely on this method. Look for typos, generic greetings, poor grammar, and unusual tone. Historically, these were very strong indicators of a phishing email. While AI has improved the grammar and professionalism of many phishing emails, you might find some inconsistencies in tone, like a generic greeting, for example, "Dear valued customer," instead of your name, or subtle grammatical errors. These can all still be red flags. Don't fall for the too good to be true offer. If an offer seems unbelievably generous, like, "Oh, here's an unexpected inheritance," or "Oh my gosh, you've got a free gift card," out of nowhere, it's almost certainly a scam. Apply a healthy dose of skepticism to such propositions. Cross-reference your information independently. If an email asks you to take action, for example, update these account details, click on this link, or transfer any money, do not use the contact information provided in this suspicious email. Instead, independently look up their official contact information, like, for example, from that organization's official website, a previous legitimate communication you've had with this person, and verify the request through that known channel, not through the email itself. And scrutinize the context and consistency. AI can generate convincing text, but it might struggle with subtle contextual cues or consistent narratives across multiple interactions. Is this email's content consistent with recent interactions or known events? For example, if it's about an order, does it align with your actual order history you've had? Does the sender's apparent knowledge match what they should know? An AI-generated email might make general statements that doesn't quite fit the specific details of this situation. And last but not least, verify unusual requests by actually calling the sender. If you receive an unexpected or odd request, especially one asking for personal information or for you to take immediate action, always verify it by calling that sender using a known legitimate phone number, not the one they've provided you in this suspicious email. This quick step can prevent impersonation scams. Now on to CyberNet, the district's phishing reporting tool. So, you've received an email and you've determined it to be fishy. Great, but now what do you do with it? Simply report it using our phishing vendor tool, CyberNet. Once you've selected a suspicious email in Outlook, you'll find a little blue squirrel button in the top right corner. Clicking this button will allow you to report this email to our phishing vendor, CyberNet. You can also provide details about whether you clicked on any links or you opened any attachments. Now, this information is vital for us to respond appropriately and to quickly address any potential threats, and it's not intended to get anyone in trouble. You'll receive an onboarding email introducing you to the platform. This will provide you a guide with a walkthrough on how to use this tool. You can also forward any suspicious email to security@wvsd208.org. This will create a ticket with our IT department and ensure the email is routed to the appropriate security personnel, not individual staff members. Please avoid forwarding suspicious emails directly to staff personal inboxes, even IT, as this can inadvertently increase the risk of a phishing threat. Now on to the data sharing, data compliance, and encrypting emails portion of our training. Data privacy is important for the district as we have information that's sensitive or confidential. Being able to share this information with colleagues in a safe and secure manner is important for collaboration, but also data privacy. In this next section, we'll teach you about the proper data sharing and data compliance, where I'll share some COPA and FERPA information. Then, I'll show you how you can encrypt an email in certain circumstances. Now, what is FERPA? And key question, why are we here? And why does this matter to you and your job security? We're here for one goal, and that's to understand how to avoid an accidental and intentional confidentiality catastrophe. It's important to understand what FERPA is and what it protects. FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, this is a federal law that was enacted back in 1974. The following was taken directly from the law, and it protects the following. Any record that's tied directly to the student and are maintained by an educational agency or institution, or any third party that acts as the agency or institution, and they're not listed as any one of the following exceptions as listed in section 99.3. These personally identifiable information, or PII, includes, but it's not limited to, the student's name, the name of the student's parents or other family members, the address of the student or family, any other personal identifiers such as their social security number or even their student ID number, a list of personal characteristics or any other type of information that would make the student's identity easily traceable. Now, the definition is broad, encompassing anything from their grades and their transcripts to the student's attendance records, disciplinary files, health records as maintained by the school, and even notes if they are shared or put into the student's file. The golden rule, legitimate educational interest, or LEI for short. What is the LEI? Only access or share the information when you absolutely need to in order to do your job in that specific moment and for that one student. Now, what it isn't. It isn't curiosity, gossip, or wanting to know if little Timmy inherited his dad's questionable fashion sense by going out and looking for the student's ID picture out of the blue. First, think of it like this. FERPA is mostly about keeping the student's school stuff private. This includes things like the student's grades, attendance, disciplinary actions, and anything else that's directly about the student. These are called education records. Schools cannot share any of this private student information without the student's parents or the student, if they're over 18, permission. There are some exceptions, but here are the most common ones. A school can share a student's private information from their education record with other people who work at the school, for example, a teacher or a counselor or an administrator, without needing specific permission from the student or the parents, as long as those school employees genuinely need that information to do their jobs involving the student's education. Think of it like the following. Imagine your school as a team, and they're working to help you learn and grow. Now, this rule allows different members of that team to share information about you if it's directly related to their job of educating or supporting you. Your math teacher needs to know your grades from previous math classes to help you. Your guidance counselor needs to see your transcript to advise you on college applications. The school nurse might need to know if you have a medical condition from your student record, if it impacts your school day. This section ensures that school staff can access the necessary information to fulfill their responsibilities to the students without having to get special permission every single time. It's about legitimate access for legitimate educational purposes. Hence our "don't be nosy" clause summarization. Think of the LEI as your personal confidentiality bouncer. If someone doesn't have a legitimate reason to be on the guest list, they're not getting in. The wild, wild west of unapproved tech. The World Wide Web and technology have vastly grown and accelerated the rate of adoption in all facets of our lives, including the educational space. It's so easy to store and share files with just about anyone that needs access to them. But pump those brakes, though, for just a moment. Because in this scenario, we have a teacher who decides to use their own cloud storage or email service, such as a personal Dropbox, a Google Drive, or their Gmail account, that is not set up or managed by the school. Store scanned copies of student IEPs, sensitive health data, forms, grade rosters, or to communicate with other staff or parents because it's quote-unquote easier. So what's the legal basis with this scenario? Well, it violates COPA and FERPA law and can lean toward being a public disclosure issue. Using an unapproved service or website means the school district has no control over the vendor's security practices or how they handle PII, making it an unauthorized disclosure risk and a failure to adequately protect records. The school or district is accountable for its third-party service providers. To sum it up, third-party vendors must all play by the same rules. The key risk with using these methods to store, communicate, or use that app or website, the district loses control over our own student data. We lack the appropriate and required FERPA-compliant data agreements put in place and signed by key district rules. These data sharing agreements are legally binding contracts that outline the terms and conditions under which data can and will be shared. These agreements ensure that our district data is handled responsibly, securely, and in compliance with all laws and regulations like FERPA and COPA. This prevents misuse, abuse, unauthorized access, or unintended disclosure. Bottom line, this keeps our district's data safe. Think about the following. If your personal Dropbox account contains student IEPs, you're in for a different kind of drop, as in a drop in good standing with FERPA law. Here are a couple scenarios of the wild, wild west of tech. You're a principal that just found a really cool and exciting website that can revolutionize teaching. Or how about a teacher finds a new website that can help little Timmy grasp the latest subject matter? Both of these are really great, but we as a district have a duty to protect our students' data. In these, we have a staff member use an unapproved third-party app or website for classroom activities or communication that requires students to input PII, for example, their student's name, email, or some sort of unique identifier, without the school having a FERPA-compliant contract, a data privacy agreement with that vendor, or parental and district consent, COPA. With COPA, it's not just about visible information that's protected. It also includes more technical data that you would not necessarily know about or realize. So, what's the legal basis with these scenarios? They violate COPA and FERPA law. Using an unapproved online app resource means the school district has no control over the vendor's security practices or how they handle PII, making it an unauthorized disclosure risk and a failure to adequately protect student records. The school or district is accountable for third-party service providers. To sum it up, third-party vendors must all play by the same rules. What are the key risks presented by these scenarios? The district's loss of control over our own student data. We lack the appropriate and required FERPA-compliant data privacy agreements put in place and signed for by key district rules. These data sharing agreements are legally binding contracts that outline the terms and conditions under which what data can and will be shared. These agreements ensure that our district's data is handled responsibly, securely, and in compliance with all laws and regulations like COPA and FERPA. This prevents misuse, abuse, unauthorized access, or unintended disclosure. Bottom line, this keeps our district's data safe. But we really need this cool new tool. Well, what's the process to use this online app? Send it our way using our district's upcoming application approval process. Once submitted by you, our IT department reads through all of those long and fine print user agreements, and we make sure that we have those appropriate user agreements in place if needed. We then determine if this is safe to use in our district. This is to ensure that we keep our data in safe hands and there's no misuse of our data or information before staff or students use it, keeping us safe and keeping us data compliant. Now on to digital security, the digital do's, the digital don'ts of your digital life. Let's get digital, digital. I wanna get digital. Now, digital security is just as important as physical security. Think of physically locking your car or your home. If you wouldn't leave your home without locking it up or closing that garage door, then you shouldn't leave your computer unlocked. It is just as important to keep your digital assets, like your login information, locked away and kept safe, as it is your physical belongings. In this slide, we'll touch on two scenarios that will emphasize the importance of keeping your credentials to yourself. Here's our first scenario. A teacher or a parapro decides to share their login username and password with a substitute teacher, another colleague, or even a parent volunteer to help them access students' schedules or grades. In our second scenario, there's an office staff member that logs into their computer and leaves it unattended and unlocked. This allows anyone walking by to access the unattended computer. Thus, they have all the access to all the systems and securities of that logged in staff member, including sensitive student information. The common thread with these scenarios, they all violate the fundamental security implications of FERPA. While FERPA doesn't explicitly state thou shalt not share your passwords, it mandates the protection of education records from unauthorized disclosure. Sharing credentials or leaving systems vulnerable directly undermines this protection. The institution has an obligation to maintain the confidentiality of records, and unauthorized access facilitated by staff negligence is a breach of that obligation. MFA definitely helps, but giving someone your keys or leaving the front door unlocked makes it much easier for them. To sum this up perfectly, think about the following. Sharing your passwords is like sharing your toothbrush. Just don't, you. Now on to secure collaboration within Google and Office 365. To securely share a document in Google or Office 365, select the file or the folder that you want to share with people and click the Share button. You'll be presented with the following window where you can add any people that you would like to this file or folder, including our group-based sharing. Think of those distribution lists that you use in Outlook, like CO-everyone. Leave the restricted option selected if you're only sharing it with the people that you've listed above. Be sure to also select the appropriate permissions for the file or folder. Do you want the listed people to have full-on access and should be able to organize, edit, and add files or folders? Select the editor role. Should these people only be able to view and comment on files or folders? Select the commenter option. Or should people only be able to read the contents of the folder or file? Choose the viewer option. If you need to share this file or folder with everyone in the district, be sure to limit it to the West Valley School District 208 option. Keep in mind, though, that this option also shares it with students, so think about if they should have access to this file or folder as well. Or choose the anyone with the link option. Keep in mind, though, if someone does get a hold of the link that you share that shouldn't, they will gain access to that file or folder, and this option should pretty much rarely or never be used. Once you've chosen who should have access and selected what type of access these people should have, click the Done button. When sharing, always choose to share with the fewest amount of people possible. Ask yourself, do all these people need access? When possible, use the group-based sharing that we mentioned. And if you need a shared Google Drive to be created, please submit a help desk ticket with the name and the information about the drive, like who needs access, what is the drive for, etc. And we can look at making a shared drive for you. Think of a shared Google Drive use case like a department like central office, facilities, or maybe a math department shared drive. Alternatively, only add the individual people who need access. Limiting who has access to our data helps keep our information as secure as possible within our district environments. And last tip, only share outside of our domain when absolutely necessary and for only non-sensitive information. On to encrypting emails for confidentiality. If you do ever have to send anything with any PII in it via email, be sure to encrypt the message. Encrypting emails protects the content from being read by entities other than the intended recipient. When sending an email, our systems do look out for any PII information like credit cards, social security numbers, and more. And if our systems do detect this type of information, it will automatically encrypt the message. Keep in mind that from time to time, our systems can erroneously encrypt a message that it thinks contains any PII in it. For example, you have an email with a long number in the message and the system thinks it could be a credit card number, it will automatically encrypt the message. For times when you're sending some information that you think should be kept more safe and secure, think about sending this encrypted email. To send an encrypted email, simply type encrypt : your subject line in the subject line of your email. For example, in this example, we have encrypt : test, or you could use encrypt : student records. Just be sure the E on that encrypt is capitalized. Please note that encrypting an email this way only works when sending an email to an external person. This does not work when sending an email between other staff members in the district. Even if you do type the encrypt : subject in the subject line and send this email to another staff member in the district, these internal emails do not go to that external system that looks for this subject line to encrypt the actual message. So what's an encrypted email look like and how does the recipient access it? Well, here's how it works. Once you have the encrypt : your subject in the subject line and have sent the message off, the recipient will receive the following email. To some people that have never received this email before, this definitely could look fishy. However, this is a real email that's been encrypted, so if possible, maybe give the recipient a heads up they will be receiving this email, and if possible, let them know how to access the message if needed. Also note that an email is only available in this encrypted inbox for 30 days. After this time has passed, the message is no longer available to be read by the recipient. Here's a screenshot of the email they'll receive. The email will come from noreply@barracuda.com, and it contains our district logo with a small blurb telling them to click a link to read the message. The recipient will be brought to a login page that looks like the following, and it should autofill their email address. If they've never logged into our Barracuda email service, they will need to register by using the reset or change password link. They'll need to enter their email address in if it isn't already autofilled for them and click the submit button. They will then receive the following password reset email. They'll need to click on the link and enter their password they want to set twice to ensure accuracy. Once they create a password, they can log into Barracuda and access the message that you sent. As you can see in the screenshots here, I've logged in and there's a message waiting in my encrypted inbox. Just click on the message to open it and read any contents of the message. The recipient can also reply right here in the encrypted UI. You as the sender also receive an email once the message has been opened and read. We urge you to feel free to give this a try yourself at any time to see how this works to get a better understanding of it. Simply send a test email from your work email to your personal email account with the subject encrypt : testing and put a bit of text in the body or upload a document or a picture. This will show you exactly how the message will look like when you send it to a recipient, and you'll be able to walk through setting a password for yourself, logging in and accessing the email, as well as getting an email from Barracuda stating that this encrypted message was opened and read. Our district message is one team, one mission, cybersecure. Cybersecurity is not just a technical challenge for our IT department. It's a shared responsibility that impacts every single one of us. Each action that we take or don't online and with our devices, it contributes to our overall cybersecurity posture. When we all play our part, we create a strong, united front against cyber threats, protecting our data, our operations, and our reputation as a district. Think of the IT team as the architects of our cybersecurity defenses, building the walls and setting up the alarms. But you're the human firewall. Every employee is a critical line of defense, from recognizing a suspicious email to using strong, unique passwords. Your vigilance and smart decisions are essential in preventing breaches and keeping our organization safe. Because we're all in this together, and your actions make a real difference. Cybersecurity is a collective effort. It's about safeguarding not just the company's data, but also the trust of our community, the continuity of our operations, and even your own personal information. A single click, a shared password, or an unsecured device is all it takes to have serious consequences for everyone. Think before you click, and if you're unsure, report it. Let's work together to be cyber smart and cyber secure. It benefits us all. To wrap this training up, please remember the following. Data privacy protection should be important for everyone in the district, as we have information that's sensitive or confidential. We are the data guardians, if you will, for our students and our community's personal information. It is our sole responsibility to keep their data safe and secure while it's in our hands to keep the community's trust and respect. Being able to share information with colleagues in a safe and secure manner is important for collaboration and also data privacy. Remember, cybersecurity is not just an IT department's responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility to work together to protect each other and the district. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.